Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 Wii review, or as I should be calling it, Demon 212 pisses off the Wii fanboy community yet again, because if you have to review that's going to completely wank over Tatsunoko vs Capcom Ultimate All-Stars and see how great it is, might as well leave now. So anyway, you might have noticed from the tone of voice that I'm a little pissed off by this game, seeing as it is the 7th Versus series game and it's probably the worst one they've made. So yeah, I'm not going to hold any punches. I'm going to say exactly why I don't like it, starting with the controls. When you go into the options, you have several things. Going to the controller settings, you will notice that there is no hard kick, hard punch, light kick, light punch, medium kick, medium punch. There's just hard, light, medium. When I actually go into the fighting, I will explain why the hard, light, medium system is awful and doesn't work and ruins half of the character roster, because a lot of them are from games where you've got the hard kick, the hard punch. Like for example Ryu on this I find totally unplayable. The options, however, for people who do care, you've got things like you can change the difficulty, the time, damage, stuff like that, so pretty much all the standard stuff's there. So before I go into the actual gameplay, I'll mention the things you can do. You've got a shop, which might as well not be on the game. The shop mainly allows you to buy images for the gallery and also buy new costumes. You've got online, which again might as well not be on the game, because any serious fighter fan out there will probably not be playing it online, because online ruins fighting games because of lag. You've got the arcade mode, you've got the versus mode, survival mode, time attack mode, all play exactly as you'd expect them to. You can train and you can also view your play data and that. So anyway, starting with the arcade mode. So starting with the arcade mode, you get choice of characters. Depending on who you choose depends on how many characters you can have, because there are a couple of characters like the mechs where you can only have them, but for the majority of the game it is a 2-player fighting system. So Marvel v Capcom you had 3-player, this one you've got 2-player, and you can just swap between the mid-fight when it actually wants you to swap between the mid-fight. I'll get onto the tagging system very soon. And basically you go through the arcade mode and whoever you actually kill the boss with is the ending sequence you get. And the roster of fighters on the game, majority of them are unknown in this part of the world because anime is not very popular, but there are quite a few characters that I do recognise, including Karas here. I absolutely love the Karas anime, so I quite often play as him, and he's one of the few characters that does work. So yeah, I've mentioned all this stuff about how characters don't work and how things don't work. Let's get on to actually explaining myself. The tagging system. On Marvel v Capcom 2, I'm just using this as the example seeing as it's recently came out on the PlayStation and the Xbox. You push 2 buttons together to swap a character and it worked all the time, it was really responsive, worked well. This, you hold back and push L or whatever button you assign it to. It works when it wants to, it doesn't always work. A lot of the time pushing L will just give you an assist instead, even if you're holding back, because it's supposed to do the assist. So by holding back and pushing L, you'll either do an assist and have your mate jump in and it'll actually won't be an assist because you're swapping because you're about to die, or it might actually swap. It's pretty much 50-50, it does what it wants half the time. So that's very annoying, can get you killed and can ruin the gameplay first of all. With that, the second thing that ruins the gameplay, I've mentioned the light, medium, hard system. Ryu has light punches, light kicks, hard punches, hard kicks, stuff like that on Street Fighter 2 and all the Street Fighters to be fair except the first one, and even then I think he had them on the first one, it just was terrible. And I've always played as Ryu and I know all of his combos and moves and stuff, I know exactly how to play as them, I'm really good with them, I'm quite happy with them. As soon as I put this on, I've had to completely change how I play with them, because depending on what button you push now depends on what attack you do. Because you can't just do all the same attacks with only one hard button. You need the hard kick, you need the hard punch. So any character who's on this, who's been on a fighting game before, is totally different. So if you're buying it for their characters, then just forget about it. They're totally different, you won't enjoy playing as them. It's a completely new way to ruin a character really. But the characters who haven't been on fighting games before, they have been designed under this system, they actually work well, they play well, and it's another reason why I again play as Karas the majority of the time. So yeah, that's pretty much everything there is to mention about the horrible hard, medium, light system on this. The control methods that you've got available to you are pretty much standard for the Wii. You've got the Wiimote, you've got the Wiimote and Nunchuck, you've got the GameCube controller, and you've got the classic controller. If you are serious about playing a fighting game properly, then you will be wanting the classic controller, because it is the only one of the methods that actually works well, and for the reason of the fact that it's got a good D-pad, which is essential for pulling off proper fireballs and that, and it's just got a good control layout as well. The GameCube pad is horrendous because of that tiny D-pad and because of the layout of the buttons, and the other two are just laughable really. So yeah, that's the controls then and how the fighting system works, and as I say, I don't particularly like it. There's even more noticeable bugs when you're playing in multiplayer, because the fighting and the combat just seems to go all over. You'll pull off combos without even trying, so it's almost as if they're desperately trying to make the game look good by allowing you to pull off 50, 60, 100 hit combos, yet all you've done is push a couple of buttons, so it seems to be over the top. The other thing that I don't like about the fighting system on it is the energy bars. They may look normal, but the characters take so much punishment under the standard settings. It's like having 4 energy bars per one character, and it's even worse with the mechs, because they've just got one massive energy bar to make up for the fact that you can only have one of them. The mechs are also incredibly sluggish and poorly controlled, so I think I'll just cut into a mech v mech fight so you can actually see what they're like. Right then, this is the mechs, and they're stupidly slow, they're really just awful to play as. They're only there purely as bosses, because they're sub-bosses in the arcade mode, and it's the one redeeming feature of the game, the fact that the end boss of the arcade mode is so cheap, because he's got a load of cheap attacks and he can regain energy and take your gauge away for your special powers, these special powers, which basically, it's how you'd expect them to work on any fighting game. It's usually like double fireball or something like that. However, playing the game in 2-player, the bugs become more apparent, and it's just one of those. It's an okay fighting game, but I've heard people say that this is as good as Street Fighter 4, and people say that it looks better graphically than Street Fighter 4, and I personally find the whole statement laughable, because Street Fighter 4, you only had 25 fighters, that's fine. However, this is a versus game. On the Dreamcast, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, 56 fighters. This has 26, about 5 or 6 of them at least are completely useless because they're bastardized versions of themselves, like Ryu, or like with these mechs, they're just stupidly slow and only there to be a challenge in the arcade mode. So, yeah, it's just really annoying that they seem to have been lazy with it. But there's not really much left to say, other than I'll shut up for a bit and let you listen to the music. It's, again, one of the redeeming features, because I think musically it sounds great, and graphically it does look good. It's just not as good as Street Fighter 4 in full HD. However, if you are after a fighting game on the Wii, then the best one is already available to you. It's 800 points, it's on the SNES, it's called Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Hell, even going for Super Street Fighter 2 New Challenges is better than this. So if you're after a fighting game, I personally recommend going for them, because in all honesty, me and my brother don't even like playing this in 2-player. We'll only play the 1-player mode, taking turns on the arcade, because the 2-player, the bugs are even more apparent. Moves just don't work right, or you'll do the same move twice in a row and you'll get a different effect, or the character just won't swap, etc, etc. It's just buggy and glitchy and lazy, and I personally think it doesn't deserve all the praise that it's getting, because it's mediocre at best, as far as I'm concerned. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the WiiWare, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.